How long would it take for the United States to invade Canada if Donald Trump decided to take over?
Imagining a scenario where the United States, under a president like Donald Trump or any expansionist leader, decides to invade Canada opens the door to a fascinating strategic analysis. Though such an event remains highly improbable, exploring the challenges and factors surrounding such an invasion sheds light on the military, geographical, and political complexities of an operation of this magnitude. Canada, with its vast territory, international alliances, and committed population, would present significant obstacles, even against the overwhelming military power of the United States. Historical military relationship between the US and Canada. Historically, the relationship between the United States and Canada has been peaceful, though not without tension. During the War of 1812, the United States attempted to invade Canada, then under British control, and was repelled by British forces and local militias. Although this conflict is long in the past, it serves as a precedent that even a resource-rich nation can face unexpected challenges when attempting to occupy a vast and well-defended territory. Since World War II, the two nations have operated as close allies, cooperating in defense through NATO and bilateral agreements such as NORAD, North American Aerospace Defense Command. However, in this hypothetical scenario, these ties would be severed, turning an ally into an adversary. Military imbalance, a giant against its northern neighbor. The United States boasts the most powerful military in the world, with over 1.3 million active duty personnel, a reserve force of 811,000, and state-of-the-art technology, including stealth aircraft, advanced drones, and an unmatched naval fleet. Its global projection capabilities allow it to deploy forces rapidly anywhere in the world. Canada, in contrast, maintains a much smaller military force, approximately 68,000 active personnel and 27,000 reservists. While modern and professional, Canada's military is designed for defensive operations and international peacekeeping missions, not for facing an aggressor of the United States' magnitude. Canada's arsenal includes CF-18 Hornet fighter jets, capable of air defense but outmatched by US F-35s. Halifax-class frigates, effective for coastal patrols but no match for American aircraft carriers and destroyers. Elite units such as the Canadian Special Operations Regiment, skilled in asymmetric warfare but limited in numbers. Canada's terrain, a natural shield. Canada's vast territory, covering 9.98 million square kilometers, would pose challenges for invaders and advantages for defenders. While major cities such as Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, and Vancouver are near the US border, securing the entire country would require operating in remote and extreme regions like the Rocky Mountains, boreal forests, and Arctic tundra. Weather conditions would also be a significant factor. Canadian winters, with temperatures dropping as low as 40 degrees Celsius, would severely hinder troop movements and equipment functionality. Even during summer, the dense forests and thousands of lakes would make logistics and supply lines a monumental challenge. Canada's defensive strategy, resistance, and asymmetric tactics. Although Canada could not match the United States in conventional warfare, its strategy would rely on defensive and asymmetric tactics. Border defense. Canadian forces would aim to delay US advances with fortified positions and ambushes along key routes. Urban resistance. Cities like Toronto and Montreal could become hubs of house-to-house combat, inflicting significant casualties on the invaders. Guerrilla warfare. Special forces and armed civilians in remote areas could sabotage US supply lines and infrastructure. International response. A critical variable. An invasion of Canada would not be merely a military operation. It would ignite a geopolitical earthquake. The international community, including key allies like the United Kingdom, France, and other NATO members, would likely condemn the aggression and could intervene militarily to support Canada. Even adversaries of the United States, such as China and Russia, might exploit the chaos to apply diplomatic and strategic pressure elsewhere. Severe economic sanctions would isolate the US from global markets, triggering a massive recession and further complicating the occupation. How long would an invasion take? A rapid US invasion aiming to seize Canada's major cities could succeed within weeks, given the overwhelming disparity in military power. However, controlling the entirety of Canada would be an entirely different matter. The rural and remote regions, combined with Canadian resistance, could transform the conflict into a prolonged and costly occupation lasting years. The human cost, the true price of war. An invasion of this scale would carry devastating human consequences. Civilian casualties would be inevitable, particularly in urban combat, and millions of Canadians could be displaced. US troops, despite their training and equipment, would face the challenges of fighting in harsh terrain against a determined population defending their homeland. History provides stark lessons on the difficulty of occupations. From Vietnam to Afghanistan, even nations with overwhelming initial advantages often face prolonged attrition on both the battlefield and the political front. Conclusion: a strategic nightmare. While the United States possesses the military capability to invade Canada, the logistical, geographical, and political challenges would make such an operation nearly impossible to sustain. A quick initial victory could be achieved, but maintaining control over a nation as vast and diverse as Canada would prove a Herculean task, fraught with unforeseen obstacles and immense costs. Ultimately, this hypothetical scenario underscores not only the military capacities of the two nations, but also the deep political and human connections that would make such a conflict a historical tragedy. Wars between neighbors do not merely destroy territories, they unravel legacies, alliances, and, most tragically, lives.